Well, it is a case that has the country just buzzing, and it's all unfolding right in our own backyard. We're talking about the Jodi Arias case, of course. Trial picks back up in just about 2 hours, and we are expecting another very interesting week with lots of twists and turns today as the prosecution testimony will resume. Right now, we're joined by some guests that have been following this one very closely. We've got Monica Lindstrom and Jason Lamb, both attorneys who are following this, and then, of course, Mike Watkins, who's been in the courtroom every single day. What do you expect this week, Mike?
Week 3 of the state versus Jodi Arias, and I think that the prosecution will continue their slog through this macabre story. Courtroom awash in bloody photographs and some of the most graphic autopsies. And in many ways, I think this is sort of the bloody preamble. I think the real trial begins when the defense starts its attack on Travis Alexander. We've already established what's gone on thus far. She did it. It's a horrible crime. Prosecutor Juan Martinez has made a very effective case. Now the defense has to put Travis Alexander on trial.
Speaking of the pictures, that's not something that most people, lay people, see on a daily basis. What is it like for the jury to see this?
Well, the photos in this case, as we've talked about last week, are probably some of the most gruesome that we can remember in recent trials. Not just the blood, not just Travis Alexander's limp body on the floor, but he was cut side to side on his throat with a gaping hole. That's something that's got to leave a lasting impression on the jury's mind, something that Jodi Arias will have to fight back against if and when she takes the stand.
Monica, there was a motion for a mistrial last week, and it had a lot to do with this sequencing. What is this all about, and why is it important?
Well, we know that there were approximately 3 different types of injuries. There was the stabbing, there was the slit across the neck, and then there was also the gunshot. Now, when all this first came to the court, there was argument that the gunshot came first and the other injuries came after. Now they're saying the gunshot came after he was already dead or close to death. So that really goes to the whole cruelty factor, because if the gunshot came after he was dead, you can't really use that to say that she inflicted, heinous and cruelty and lots of pain and suffering. So that is a really big thing that came out this past week, and the motion for mistrial was a good motion. Didn't go anywhere, but remember, the defense has to do anything and everything they can to try to save her life.
Jason, we've seen this interview where she was with Inside Edition, I believe, where she said, "No jury will convict me. I didn't do this. That's heinous. I've never even fired a real gun." I would imagine her attorneys hate that video.
Oh, as an attorney, whenever you're doing a high-profile case, and Monica and I have both been involved in them, you really want to keep your client away from the camera, much as, Mike Watkins, that sort of thing.
Right, exactly.
You really want to keep your client away, because anytime your client makes a statement, it's going to be used against them, whether that statement's to a detective in an interrogation or to the cameras. You're going to hear about it, and the minute there's inconsistency, it's going to get rammed right down their throat.
And think about how she presents it. She looks right in the eye of those interviewers and says, "I was nowhere near Mesa." Right. And she tells another one, "Intruders came in and killed Travis and attacked me and I ran away." And she did it very convincingly, and the prosecutors, she's a good liar. You shouldn't believe her now.
Yeah, no doubt about that. What can the defense do at this point? I mean, is it really just to muddy the water and, go after Travis?
Well, it's not just going after Travis, and we'll talk about that, but it's also going after the investigation. Monica talked about this major error that the detective made, and the state's case is on trial, and the defense has got to say, hey, look, if they're going to get such a major piece wrong, you got to consider that when you're considering the ultimate penalty. As far as Travis Alexander goes, the defense has said that he's a pure and spiritual man, but they're going to say that he's somewhat of a chameleon who ensnared Jodi Arias, and we're going to see these sex photos and these deviant recordings and text messages, and they're going to try and make him look like an abuser and that she acted in self-defense.
Will it work?
It could work. All they have to do is get one jury to like her, to side with her. And I think what we said earlier, the real trial, the real interesting part is going to come when the defense starts. Because at this point, I know I'm tired of the interviews, I'm tired of the tapes, I'm tired of the bloody pictures that's out there. We've seen it all a million times at this point. Let's see what the defense is going to do. That's where the interesting part will start.
And Mike, just about 30 seconds left. I saw a poll that said the majority of people don't believe her tears to be sincere. What is it like being in the courtroom with her? And are jurors buying that?
Well, the jurors are certainly paying attention. Jodi Arias goes from moments of hiding her face and crying just sitting amazingly still and almost detached. You know, and again, we're reading between the lines. She's a curious specimen. There is no doubt about it. Her change in demeanor, her change in clothing, which is jury consultants 101 to make her more sympathetic to the jurors. A lot going on in that courtroom. It's going to be, I think, another interesting week.
It sure is. Monica, Jason, Mike, thank you guys so much. We'll take a quick break, and of course, we have this thing covered, and we'll be back right after this.